Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey. Greenlights is a reaffirming voice to stand true amidst your darkest storms. Matthew uses what he refers to as outlaw logic, the philosophies that he has managed to discover and acquire throughout his life. He tenderly looks upon this outlaw logic as the art of living. One of the key concepts in this book is the traffic light metaphor in which the book is named. McConaughey goes on to explain that green lights are often the thing we treasure most. They come in the form of approvals, support, praise, and affirmations that we are taking the right action in our lives. However, yellow and red lights can often take on the appearance as obstacles keeping us from further momentum. These lights can take the form of failure, suffering, and pain. However, Matthew argues that these roadblocks are simply opportunities to overcome not only our circumstances, but ourselves, thus giving the way to future green lights. They are necessary stops if we are to realize our true potential. The purpose of understanding this concept is that we may design future green lights through skill, discipline, and resilience. We can also learn to identify the red and yellow lights in our lives so that we may venture off the road and take a detour in order to continue moving towards our goals and aspirations with a speedy momentum. An example of a red light turning green is the recent COVID pandemic, a life-halting tragedy that forced us to look within, question our intentions, and better come to understand ourselves. By doing this, we provided ourselves with clarity, allowing us to increase opportunity and solidify our direction moving forward. Green light. A benefit to observing the traffic lights in your life will help you cope with your struggles and craft meaning for what often appears to be meaningless pain or rejection. Rather than allow ourselves to give in to what often appears as disaster or failure, we make the best of our time and embrace our position in life, sowing the seeds for growth and joy to flourish. These red lights or thoughtful pauses allow us to re-examine who we are, what we want, and the life we wish to create. It is about working towards the things we need, not want, which Matthew laughingly states is what we really want. Creativity needs borders. Individuality needs resistance. Earth needs gravity. Without them, there is no form, no art, only chaos. McConaughey. This quote is what Matthew refers to as a prescription. Prescriptions help us get what we want or ail us of our afflictions. He peppers these wise insights in between his stories in order to correlate the lessons he has learned with practical advice that has gone on to serve him along his journey. Similar to these prescriptions are bumper stickers. That's one word. Bumper stickers reveal the person behind the wheel. They are lyrics, one-liners, and personal preferences, cheap and fun. Matthew jokingly pokes at his audience with these bumper stickers in order to help us pivot into new stories while providing us a deeper insight into who Matthew McConaughey truly is. They are phrases written throughout his journals in order to better retain the wisdoms in which he finds himself fortunate enough to grasp. Bumper sticker. Know your direction so you can swerve in the lane. The stories in this book are a culmination of 35 years of consistent journaling, experiences that Matthew is credited with the establishment of his character and style. From Matthew's 350ZX that revealed the importance of putting forth an effort, to an exchange program that left Matthew in extreme solitude and forced him to come to terms with his own identity. We are invited to join Matthew through his recollections that we may too benefit from his rich life history. To create the weather with the most favorable wind, we must first remove that which causes the most friction to our core being. This process of elimination creates order by default, therefore rendering more to move towards and less to back away from. We cultivate these affirmations until they become habits, which form our constitutions. They proliferate and become emanations of our true essence, and through these emanations, true identity is formed. The goal of this book is to teach the reader how to get relative. By accepting the inevitable, we learn to deal with our circumstances in order to clarify our direction towards a life truly worth living. Through humility and patience, we too can watch in awe as our red lights give way to future opportunities that we would have otherwise sped straight past. Green light. As an actor, a native Texan, and a local Austinite, this book spoke to my core. It gave me the courage to stick to my convictions, even when those convictions appear to hold me back. It taught me that my own madness isn't something to fear, that it is my gift and tool towards attracting a life that fulfills my every need and desire. I would argue that is a large part of Matthew's inherent genius. He is reluctant to live by anything other than his own intuition. This is an instinct that Matthew credits as having been crafted by a family of outlaws. Outlaw logic: work hard and drift. An example used in this book is that of a spider. The spider does not hunt down its prey. A spider sits back in the comfort of his own web and waits patiently for the next meal to arrive. This philosophy has served Matthew extraordinarily well, as it was most often through his drifting that he was able to recalibrate himself despite the noise of success. As a result, Matthew has a deep understanding of who he is and what truly matters to him. By having that awareness, and with patience, he was able to cultivate the perfect opportunities moving forward, creating the space to act with perfect timing. Our souls are infinitely magnetic, McConaughey remarks, speaking on our ability to attract that which truly matters to us. It is no doubt one of the main factors which allowed for Matthew's success throughout the last 35 years. Greenlight. During Matthew's career, he has disappeared from Hollywood numerous times to cut through the mystification of celebrity. One of his most notable retreats being that of his trip to Africa. A search for one of his favorite musicians ended up leading Matthew directly into developing a new perspective. An argument had erupted between two Africans, who Matthew was dining with at the time. They were remarking on a young woman who was obviously a prostitute looking to score. One man voiced that as a Muslim woman, it was shameful to sell her own body. The other man defended her, stating that because they did not know her circumstances, that it was unwise to be making any judgments whatsoever. Matthew came to the aid of the first man, stating that he also thought that it was wrong for her to sell her own body, to which the man who he was agreeing with sternly cut him off. It was not about being right, it was about understanding the situation. See, these men were not arguing to win, but to simply see the bigger picture. When Matthew apologized, the second man yelled at him, "You better not be sorry. You better be changed." The competitive mentality that the West is known for was in fact a red light, keeping him from connecting with the greater truth. On that same trip, while being escorted by the very same musician that Matthew had sought out, the two had arrived in a neighboring village. Matthew was traveling under the alias David, and that he was a writer and a boxer. Word quickly spread that a strong white man had arrived, and soon Matthew found himself being challenged by the village's wrestling champion. Upon being defeated by the champion, Matthew was surprised to see that the crowd was cheering for him. At first, Matthew thought it was because he had actually won, but he was kindly corrected once again. "You won when you took the challenge." Again, the Western way of thinking was that there had to be a loser and there had to be a winner. It is not about winning, it is about rising to the occasion. That is the real spirit of victory. There can be no unity without confrontation. Through and through, this book was an honest revelation of a life, the good and the bad, how growth and success can often arrive through bad news, troubled times, and rocky roads. Greenlights continuously affirms to own your own values, to safeguard your soul regardless of your circumstances, and to have faith in God and yourself. Life is messy, and throughout this chaotic world, our lives can take us down fast highways, dirt roads, and dirty pit stops. Every opportunity presents a challenge to grow. Even if you find yourself at a red light, hold on to confidence that soon your light will turn green. The beauty is where we choose to find it. So get relative and deal.